Hello and welcome. It's Aryana Rollins with School of Self Revolution. And this is exciting. This is the first time that I've done a live YouTube. And I'm hoping that it works well. But with anything live, you never know. I was having a conversation with a lady, her name's Mickey Sturgis, and she's just joined the highest potential for life mastery training, which we're starting in November. And she had some wonderful questions and insights about her own personal life. And I thought it would be really great to have a question and answer session with her. So let me see if I can include her. Let's see here. Okay, settings. Okay. And give me a moment. Okay. Hopefully we can get her live on here and showing the screen share. Give me a moment. Dial guests up. Let's see. Okay. Isn't this fun? Technology. Okay. Well, I'm not sure if Mickey has been able to join us, but hopefully we can at least get some questions. Let's talk about this, just so that as we're waiting for her, that she can find her way into this Google Hangout. Otherwise, we will re-record it at another time. So I'm not sharing anything out of turn because Mickey has created a YouTube or a video on her Facebook page speaking about a really painful time in her life. She was in a marriage that was very diminishing to her self-esteem and self-confidence. And some people would call it was an abusive marriage. And people would ask her, why don't you leave? And I made a post on her Facebook page saying that, she was saying it's her fault that she didn't leave and, it was her choice to stay in it. And I said, well, not really. And I want to explain that. When we're in a situation where we feel diminished, where something's happened, where we've been impacted from the outside world, where it's a relationship or a job situation, where we're being belittled, crushed, and our self-esteem starts to take a nosedive. And, if that happens once or twice, that's one thing. But when it happens over time, and then you can see this in young children who've had a parent that's been neglectful or abusive or maybe, alcoholic or just not present there emotionally, then the child doesn't have that constancy, that stability, that bond that they can then launch out from into the outside world. And so that starts to then create a negative feedback loop between themselves and the other person. And as I said, if it happens once or twice, that's fine. We can shake it off and say, oh, that person's having a bad day. But when it happens continuously over a period of 10 years, 15 years, then that starts to impact us. And we start to say that's who we are. And that becomes part of our identity. And our identity says, oh, that's who I am. I'm someone who can be belittled and put down and not supported and treated harshly. And when we then try to change the circumstance, That programming, which has now become part of our cellular structure and part of our genes, it's saying, well, that's who we are. And we're just going to stay in this situation. And to add to that, Mickey was saying that her upbringing is, I believe she was saying she's Japanese, and there's a definite mindset that she was raised with to not be divorced and defer to her husband. And again, so that would cause her to self-doubt. And when we doubt ourselves, everything falls apart. It's like we have no internal rudder, no spine that says, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, and we feel confident expressing our boundaries. And for a female, we feel confident expressing our standards and say, this is how I deserve to be treated. This is who I am. But if we're in a situation over time, maybe it's even a job where the boss isn't recognizing you and you're not getting paid what you're worth, and other people are getting promoted next to you and you're not, or you're self-employed and you're trying to present yourself in a confident, coherent way online. And that's when those little voices inside of us, inside our head, wake up. And let's call those blockers, limiting beliefs, negative mindset. And that becomes who we are, that negative mindset, that limiting beliefs. So it makes it very hard to walk out of the situation and make a change. So talking about making change easier, there's a kind of like a shortcut, a secret path that I found how to make change easier. And I want to talk about it. It comes from a book from the 1970s, and it was written by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, Maltz, and I'm sure you'll recognize the title when I tell you. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. Odd name, right? No, he was a medical doctor. He was actually a plastic surgeon. And he was very good. He had quite a practice and made a good, significant living. And he was a sensitive kind of doctor. And he noticed there were certain patients that no matter what he did, no matter how great the surgery was, say it was a woman that she had a scar on her face from a car accident many years ago, or a different nose. Maybe a woman wanted a nose because it caused her to feel unsure about herself, not confident, not attractive. And he would do the operation. And one time he remembers there was this beautiful woman he did an operation for. She came in for her final checkup, and he puts a mirror in front of her. And she says, Dr. Maltz, I know you did the surgery. I know you're a good surgeon, but I still feel ugly. I still see the scar. Well, that caused him, as a good man and good doctor, to go back to the drawing board, so to speak. And he's like, what's going on? I know I'm doing the surgery, but it's not changing how they feel about themselves. Their identity didn't change, because the identity is something that lives inside of us. It's not on our face. It's who we say we are when we wake up in the morning. It says, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is where I live. This is who I'm married to. These are my children. This is the work I go to. It's our identity, that picture of who we say we are. It didn't change for this woman. So he did some research and he wrote the book, Psycho-Cybernetics. Now, Psycho-Cybernetics is a great understanding of why change is hard and the importance of creating a new identity, to create a new self in a way, recreate ourselves. But it doesn't give the how. Interesting read. I really enjoyed it. But we need the how. What do we do if we have this thought that wake us up in the middle of the night that says, I'm not worthy of having a loving relationship. I somehow created this, I deserved it, and I'm going to stay in it. Or we wake up in the middle of the night and we're in a panic because we don't have the money to pay the mortgage, and it's going to impact our children and our spouse. What do we do with that? A new self-identity is not going to help us. Like, we don't have that problem. We're not in that situation. Well, that's not reality. We are in that situation. We need tools to move from where we are right now to where we want to be. How do we create that new identity? The one that's successful, the one that won't deserve abuse, the one that will claim their rightful role on the internet as an affiliate marketer, or they'll claim their rightful role in the company. How do you do that? You need a system. You need a step-by-step system. And focusing on where you want to go is the first step. So you create a vision, but not just a vision as in like in your head and you just write it down and you kind of read it or you think about it. But I'm talking a vision that becomes part of your body, an imaginary experience. An imaginary experience that says, this is who I am. This is what I'm capable of. And it becomes visceral. It becomes, you can feel it in your body. It's in your emotions. It's in your mind. It's become a future memory. Yeah, that's right. I said future memory. Because when you have a memory, well, it's obviously happened in the past. But we're talking about an imaginary experience that's not happened yet. And when you have that visualization that goes beyond just visual, but it becomes kinesthetic in your body, it becomes auditory, and it is real and vivid. You can feel it every time that you read it. Fabulous. We got Mickey. Let me finish this piece up, Mickey, and then I'll include you. Yay! Technology. We got it working. So this imaginary experience, it becomes a future memory. And the way to bring it to you currently today is to bring in your emotions, because that's what memories are. They're stored events that have been emotionally influenced and held in the body, or what I like to call the body is the unconscious mind. And once you've done that and you've got it in your unconscious mind, it can create it for you. It can create what you've already had, abusive relationship, a boss that doesn't respect you, or it can create the future memory if you know how to implant it. And that's what we do in the highest potential life mastery. We'll talk about that a little bit. Let me see if I can include unmute Mickey. Let's see. Technology here. Okay. Share controls. Oh, maybe that'll work. Let's see. Okay. What if I click on you, Mickey? Does that work? There's Mickey. Let's see if I can get her. Mickey, can you unmute? Okay, let me see. All right, Mickey, try speaking. Hi. Okay. Oh, try again.
Can you hear me?
Yay, we did it. Okay, great.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I was like frantically trying to get into
like me with Facebook that first time.
Yes. So I'm glad. And I was listening to you. I just could not get in. Hi, my name is Mickey Sturgis with Mompreneurs Club, and I help other women to rediscover their identity, regain confidence, and trying to rebuild their life and business. After all that stuff that has gone through, I've gone through, I decided, I should be, I was thinking I should be where better place. I should be, because I love personal development. And I've read a lot of books and I tried to implement what I learned, things like that, but I felt so stuck. And that's when you said, Mickey, it's not your fault. You didn't make poor choice. I did make a choice. I still think I made a poor choice. But you said, no, it wasn't your fault. And that really intrigued me.
Let's talk about that, because I did not bring that up in that little preamble. When I said you didn't make a choice, what I meant is you didn't make a choice consciously. It was the unconscious mind which had the programmed history if that's how we treat our husband and that's what our role is, and we don't get divorced. It's when we allow our unconscious mind to make life choices for us, like who we marry, the kind of work we do. That's what I mean by you didn't decide, because consciously you never would have entered into that situation nor stayed in it as long as you did. And that's the problem when the unconscious mind makes decisions for us. We lose um, we lose control of our life. And the whole idea of the highest potential for life mastery is to be in conscious control, and not in a forcing way, but in a coherent way, in a loving way, in a guiding way, being a good, proper leader, right, of our life.
Yeah, align with what you're actually designed to be. I really, that intrigued me a lot, and that was my first question. What do you mean by that? And so you answer that, and so next question I had was, how do we get into the situation like that in the beginning? In the beginning, because I didn't, like you said, I didn't consciously say I would like to get married with this abusive person. You didn't do that. And of course there was an attraction, physically I was attracted to him, and there were certain things that he did that really intrigued me, because I was one of these naive little girl who was raised in a very warm, loving environment. Yet my family was very husband dominant. So my dad was very authoritarian in the family. Very, he was not a abusive person like that. It was just very authoritative.
Yes.
My mom was like, yak, 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 yak. And then if he says one thing, everybody will shut up and say, okay, that's the decision. That type of environment. But it was a very loving environment. But, why did I make that choice?
Well, I alluded to it a little bit, because it wasn't a conscious decision. It was, that's who I marry. That's what a husband is. That's what my father was like. Most of us make decisions, and we know this, that we're attracted to someone like our father or like our mother, and we enter into the relationship. And that's because it is our programming. It's our, early experiences that are choosing. And when we have access to the conscious mind, we can outline, actually, in like physical 3D world, who is it that would make a good partner for me? There's a perfect partner process that's really very powerful. And you outline the different qualities and characteristics of people that bring the best out in you. So it doesn't have to be a relationship partner. It could be your best friend when you were 3 years old. It could be an aspect of your mother, your father. And you create this working model of, this is a fulfilling partnership, down to the minute detail. You can have 20, 30 items, characteristics. And when the unconscious mind, when you bring it into the body and it says, I know what you mean, you naturally start to send that energy out, and you'll resonate and respond to those people who are a good fit. And we're always looking to rate the fulfillment level of any experience, whether it's a relationship or whether it's a conversation like this. How fulfilling was it on a 1 to 10 scale? And 10 is obviously fulfilling. So the perfect partner process can be done, and then we're consciously attracting. We're choosing. We're not letting our history and our memories make those very important, life-sustaining or life-destroying decisions.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. It's, but when you think about it in your head, it's like, it gives you a red flag that the part of it is that I did not listen to that inner voice, or, I did not listen. I doubted all the time what I was feeling. I dismissed that and sort of said, what, he looks good, or, this sounds good, this feels good. And you go with it. And a lot of times,
when you overwrite that inner voice, or what I'll call your kind of true essence self, well, you have command. You have the choice to override it. You can ignore anything. Yes. And then when we then start to pay attention, that's when I say we're hitting like a real sweet spot. Life flows. So listening to that guidance as if it's a trusted, wise friend. And again, we always have choice, but why not? Why not listen? This person's, going to be a great friend, or a great loved one, or this great job, right?
Mhm. For me, that's the Holy Spirit that I try to listen, because with myself, I really don't trust myself. But when Holy Spirit talks, that, some people might call it inner voice, but to me, that's a Holy Spirit that's speaking to me. And when I do listen to that, it's pretty much right on.
Life
But
works.
right, the only thing
Yes.
is that I don't listen. So why is it so hard for people to like make a change when they know it's not, they need to change, or it's not good for you? Why do we do that?
A lot of reasons. If we want to kind of put a bottom line to it, I think it's our egoic mind. And it's this false persona, not false as in it's a lie, it's just how we think we need to be in the world and the choices that align with that. So, for example, I need to stay married because, divorced people, there's a stigma about it and I'm a failure. So, those ego decisions, which we could also call self defeating habit patterns, when they're making the decisions, and like you said, the Holy Spirit or true self or higher self, when it's elbowed out of the way, it says, no, I'm doing it because I know, well, it can't override our free will. We are gifted as a human on the earth, free will.
Mhm.
We have that choice.
Yeah.
So that's, it's those blockers. It's the self-defeating unconscious habit patterns that come from our programming, that come from our history, that prevent us from being that new, successful person, whether it's in relationship, marriage, or in business.
Oh, it's so true. Yesterday, when I did the Facebook Live in my group, I shared, sometimes my husband and I talk about, how we are programmed. And oftentimes he said, that's in their DNA. So, like some people are very depressive personality, some people
Mm.
have addictive personality. You can show me all the alcohol, to me, I would not attracted to it. I just don't want to. I don't want to go there. I've done it before and I threw up so many times I don't want to do it. So I don't have that personality. But there are some people who say, ooh, I like this, and become addicted to alcohol. So that, in that sense, those things could be in DNA. In that case, it feels like there's no control. I don't have any control over that. So how do we like reprogram, or how do we get over that so that we can have new us, new me, where, I'm not addicted to anything, or I didn't, you know what I mean, where you want to get rid of what is not serving you.
It's a really good question. When someone has a compulsive behavior and it's something that's hurting them or hurting others, it's like we think about it is our body has now become the mind. The body is craving whatever it is, whether it's overspending or it's overeating or over drinking. And it's the body that's making the decisions. And guess what? This part, or the true self, is not, it's been elbowed out. And the person is now operating unconsciously. They're not present to their wholeness and their highest self and highest vision. So how we would do that in the highest potential for life mastery is we would treat them as blockers. Anytime we are experiencing anything other than love, joy, harmony, and upliftment, compassion, assume we have a blocker running. And if we're hurting ourselves or hurting others, then we have a blocker running. So we would write down what's the situation, what's going on, and then discern where are we feeling it in this body mind. What are the body sensations? And once we get those body sensations, maybe it's if someone's very conscious that before they go to, I don't know, overspend on a credit card, they could feel like this contraction in their chest, like, shallow breathing. It's painful. Wow, that's a body sensation. The unconscious mind will communicate through a body sensation. And when we become aware of that, we now have choice. We can write down the situation and then we clear it. We resolve the historical programming in there that put that in there that said, that's okay. That's a good coping mechanism. And at one time it was. Not to say there's any judgment, it was necessary at one time, but now it's become self-defeating. And now we need to resolve it. And the way that we do it, which is inspiring, I think, is not just focusing on all the blockers, because boy, we can say, this is wrong with our life, this is wrong with us, and all over the place. And we can be obsessive. But what we do is we create a vision of how do we want our life to be? Well, what is our ideal self? And to bring in all components, the emotional, the financial, the work life, the spiritual life, the connections with our family, connections with friends, our health, everything. And that becomes our barometer. We take a measurement at the beginning of the class, and then you create a vision of how you want a particular area of your life to be, and then you pursue it. Any of these goal-setting masters, Tony Robbins, there's so many I could name, these wonderful Jim Rohn, business philosopher, and there's book after book, program after program, and they all have a common understanding is that when we're pursuing something meaningful and that becomes our prime directive, and even Joe Dispenza talks about that, you're switching on your frontal lobe of your brain, which is the supreme achievement of human brains, the frontal lobe. That's the part that says, wow, how would it feel to have a really great loving relationship? How does it feel to have, I don't know, $100,000 in the bank? How does it feel to have a thriving online business? How does it feel to be a coach with a waiting list? And as soon as we start shifting into that, which is infinite possibilities, then we are disconnected from this body making the decisions. And then once we create that vision and we know how to activate there's another part called the reticular activating system, which I believe is part of the frontal lobe. When you learn how to give it new instructions and say, this is what's important, this is really meaningful to me, this is a 10 in desirability, it becomes the guiding light. Not guiding light as in not spiritual, but it's the guiding light in how you're going to use your day, the importance. So the other things that are lower priority fall to the background, and you find yourself naturally doing things where in the past you might have been uncomfortable. Like, oh, I can't do a Facebook Live. Oh, I can't do it, this because what if technology fails? Or what if I don't know how to answer a question? All that falls to the background because your purpose, your vision, your intention becomes the overriding voice. And the blockers get quieter and quieter and quieter till now you've created a new identity, a successful identity.
Wow, that is powerful. So, some women like me, I got out of that situation and I got remarried, and my current husband said, I make good enough living, you can stay home. So I happily left corporate job. But after a while, I know myself, I'm a busybody. So I wanted to do something. And, when you go from corporate job employee to self-employed, there are certain things I wish I knew, but I didn't. So it's been taking longer time, I think, to be where I'm at. And a lot of women nowadays, they get into like network marketing because it's easy to get in.
Yes.
Don't have to have so much investment and that kind of things. But there are certain things that you have to be mindful of if you want to do this, and be successful. What do you think they are?
That's a good question because, again, we're speaking about identity. If someone is coming from a corporate job, that means somebody else is writing the check to pay them, and they're being told what to do. And obviously, in a more high-powered job, they have a lot more initiative and they have to be self-motivated. But still, someone has defined their job and their role and their function. And that's easier for most of us to follow. And because we know if we do the job, we're going to get paid. When you transition to be self-employed or an entrepreneur, network marketer, affiliate marketer, or a coach, healer, or trainer, all of a sudden you're now in a position to sell yourself. You're selling your services if you're a healer or a coach, or you're selling the company if you're a network marketer. That's easier to sell the company, especially if you believe in the products. But you're also selling yourself as the team leader. Join my team and you'll be successful. That's when the unconscious blockers wake up, the self-defeating beliefs that say, who am I to be a leader? Who am I to be teaching this person who is like extremely successful and has a huge contact database? Who am I? I haven't made my checks, not even $500. I'm not going to be able to guide them. Well, guess what? That becomes the reality then. So creating an identity that says, well, I'm going to bring parts of my corporate life and corporate skill set, because there are a lot of wonderful skills people learned working in a job, and you harvest those out and you transpose them. You transfer them into your new life and your new job, but not just in your mind like, oh yeah, I'm good at public speaking and I'll be able to public speak. I'm going to do a Facebook Live and it crash. No, because the blockers say, well, it's different. You know, you were speaking about, I don't know, life insurance, and now you're speaking about, taking supplements. And they're two different things. So there's a little bit of, not bad, but a little bit of work to do to get that part of you, because it is a success habit inside. To get that success habit to wake up and say, let's do it in this way. Let's make these little changes here. And all of a sudden, that success habit's excited. Yay, I'm being employed. Like you like to be busy, right? And pursuing something.
Yeah.
We all do. We all want that experience of fulfillment. So when we bring those success habits forward and we apply them into our new relationship, new work life, there's a sense of fulfillment that happens and we feel inspired, passionate.
That is so true. So we really have to have that, be mindful of your blocker. It's super important. I think unfortunately, it took a long time for me to realize I had that blocker, because I was thinking, I know this stuff. I've read all these books and I know this stuff, but it really didn't. And I just realized that because I was just stuck. I felt like it went to a ceiling. I just hit the ceiling and I just could not. It's like my piano, I went to a certain level of piano and then I quit, and then coming back, it's so hard to get back in. So it's like that. Well, I'm so excited about your program. So I heard you are actually offering this program that's starting November 18th,
yes.
Right? So would you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I want to address one thing, is you brought up a really great point about you hit this ceiling. All of us have what we call unconscious performance limits. And those are making the decision about how much money it will allow you to earn this year. It's also making the decisions about how many people you can have in your team if you're a network marketer. Or it's also making decisions about the amount of love and the goodness and the prosperity that you'll allow into your life. So it is a very real thing. When you said hit that ceiling, it's very real. And there's a process, a step-by-step system that you learn in the Highest Potential for Life Mastery. It's called the unconscious performance limit process, where you identify your current amount of income that your unconscious says, oh, I can create that for you, no problem. Yeah, we can make $10,000 a year, no problem. Or we can have 2 people in our team, no problem. Well, that's not okay. It's not enough just to know.
Yeah.
You identify the blocker and you increase it. And people have done that really successfully, to the point where they have doubled, tripled, and quadrupled their income. And we're not talking people who are just starting out in business. We're talking about people who were very successful speakers, like John Milton Fogg, who was a who wrote the book, The Greatest Networker in the World, and he's quite a successful network marketer. He was one of my first clients, and even
Really?
him quadrupled his income.
Wow.
So,
You know what? That is so true because it's unconscious. You're not really consciously saying, oh, I will just make $500 a month. You know, that's exactly what I did when I first got into a network marketing business. I told myself, if I can make $500 a month, I will be happy. I'll be content. So I stopped there. And when
wow.
when I got there, I'm like, oh, I can make more money. So I raised it a little bit more. It's like, if this becomes like 1,000, about
Yes.
1,200, that would be great. And then again, I stopped there. So it's
Mm.
almost like you're subconsciously or consciously, I don't know which one it is, but I told myself this is what I'll be content at. So
Mhm.
this totally makes sense to me.
Yep.
So I'm
Yep.
really excited about that to
It's a
move forward.
really
Yeah.
powerful. I was speaking to a client just before we got on, and we identified that any area where we're feeling we're holding ourselves back, we can do an unconscious performance limit process on it.
Mhm.
Even if it's the amount of hugs you get from your spouse or the amount of times your spouse says, I love you. And we're not controlling the outside world, but
Right.
we are creating a feeling of worthiness. We're
Hmm.
elevating our sense of worthiness and deservability. So then, as Joe Dispenza, who wrote a great book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, says, you're accessing the quantum field. When you have put out into the quantum field what you want and you've got emotion merged with that, there's your energy, your unique signature, and it can't not happen. That's the thing. With working with the highest potential for life mastery, it can't not happen because you
Mhm.
have now all the tools to clear any self-doubt or resistance or any blockages that are saying, who am I to deserve that? Or whatever it is. So
Mhm.
let's talk about, I'm going to do a quick screen share and show the program here.
Okay.
So can you see it?
Yep, I
Okay,
can.
great. So the highest potential life mastery, it's from resistance. If we think about resistance, it's any time that we're not doing something that's uplifting, fulfilling, loving, joyful, compassionate. We're experiencing resistance. So who would you be if you were free from negative beliefs, from history, from all those thoughts that says that's who I am and who am I to deserve that, that are blocking your joy and your passion, your success? So this program it's been taught to well over 100,000 people. And when people do the exercises in the program, there is an overall 90% success rate. And success means that they set an objective, a goal that they want to work on in the class, and they achieve it from a 7, 9, 10, a success. So if someone wants to increase their income, they want to expand their reach and include more team members, they want to find their perfect partner, they want to get a new job, they would set a goal. They actually work on it in the class. They have 2 different goals they get to work on. So let me go into just a little bit about the different modules. We know something's preventing us from following through on our intentions. It happens all the time. It's a matter of, do we know about it? Do we know it's an unconscious habit pattern? And can we change it? And we definitely can. Part of it is to tune into that higher self, higher voice, true self, or you call it, Holy Spirit, and start to listen to its guidance of what's right for you. So let me go into here, talking about the modules. So this first one, with anything that we do in personal development and growth, it's so important to master the mind and start to listen to that intuitive wisdom. And once we've got that foundation set, we know what's a blocker, we know what's not, we've got ourselves this new identity, like this image of the queen here. We've got that visual, that, you know, that like not imaginary experience. It's more who we really are. We've been trained to think we're pawns and life just uses us. Once you get that foundation, Then you start to go into the practical right here, retraining your brain to succeed, clearing blockers, setting intentions. This is where you learn how to do short-term intentions, 30 days or so, whether it means, to get, I don't know, tidy up your house, release things that are, creating a lot of obstacles in the house. Let's say it could be get a new car. These are very practical, tangible things. You're retraining your brain. And once you start to succeed with these basic objectives, well, then you move on to module 3, which is moving beyond blocks to manifest miracles. And you build an unconscious team, which we call a success team. So it's got your back, so to speak, and it will help you in the most practical, tangible ways. Like, oh, what's a new headline for the post that I'm going to put on Facebook? What's a new class that I could teach? What objective should I be working on? And then you get your reticular activating system programmed with that objective. So it's working. It never sleeps. We have to sleep, at least like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. But the reticular activating system is 100% focused on your objective, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is why when you wake up in the morning, sometimes you could have the sensitivity to say, oh, this is what I should do. Oh, I should call this person, because that veil between the conscious mind and the unconscious is thinner. So you learn how to do that in module 3. And in module 4, this is where you clear the cellular memories. Like we were talking earlier, Mickey, about what causes us to make, self-sabotaging decisions, like the wrong job, the wrong partner. Nothing's really wrong. It's just not fulfilling. So this helps us by clearing the cellular memories and to build certain uplifting energy. So you deserve more and more goodness in your life, more love, more success. And through these 4 modules, you come out with a very different sense of who you are and what you're capable of. It's quite remarkable. And then so we measure everything at the end. Where are you in your fulfillment level, in your intimate relationship, your family life, your work life, your health? So you can work on whatever it is you'd like. This is not a training on how to do things. I teach you how to move into the beingness, because the beingness is what changes life. The beingness causes the outside world to be more aligned with who you really are inside. So we start on November 18th. It's on Saturdays, and it's 9:30 to 11 Pacific time, or Eastern time, 12:30. And if you do happen to miss a session, because I know, Mickey, you were saying you're enrolling and you're going to have to miss some Saturday calls, no problem, because it'll be posted on the Learning Center, and there's assignments, to keep you engaged. There's also accountability and support. You get some private sessions with me, and you get a workout buddy to help you stay aligned and on track. So a lot of support documentation, books that are unpublished that can teach you how to improve relationships to create a shared vision in your intimate relationship or your work life, how to get a better job, lots and lots. And there's some bonuses here. There's a True Self-Inspiring Success Journal, which is 10 minutes a day. It enhances your productivity. You get a free bonus immediately when you enroll, Mastering the Basics of Goal Setting. Group sessions. So if you want some support in clearing blockers, you'll learn how to do it, but I can help you do it. And this is, I think, one of the most wonderful bonuses is invite your partner for free. And this is a live-in relationship partner, because those who grow together stay together. Whatever it is, whether it's they're in personal growth together, or they're following a path in the church, or they're raising children, or they're a shared business, whatever it is, it creates a shared bond. So you can do that completely for free. So becoming the designer of your life, you already are. And it's a matter of gaining mastery over the body and the thoughts and the emotions. Claim your rightful role, because your unconscious mind is looking for direction. It's like, how can I help you? What do you want? What will make you happy? It's your loyal servant if you let it be. So learning how to turn things the right way around, where you are now consciously deciding to change your life and you follow through on that, and your unconscious mind is the helper, it makes life like radically transformed. So I just noticed that this is our full pay, but I do want to inform everybody, if you're watching this YouTube video, you don't have to pay the $21.97. It's $19.97 that you get to pay. So tell, Mickey, if you are watching it on her page, or me, and I'll make sure you get access to that link. I do hope that you join us, because it's a something that brings in so many different personal development, professional development aspects, and brings it into one package so that you have access to the blocker clearing, the goal setting, and anything else that you need to align your life to manifest magic and miracles, really. So any questions on that, Mickey? Let me see if I can get us back to the take off screen sharing. Okay, great. Can you see us now?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you so much. This is a lot to take in my, but I felt like there was something missing, and when I talked to you, I was really intrigued. And in fact, we have a mutual friend who's actually gone through your program, and she has grown. I've seen her growth. As far as business is concerned, she's bringing lots of teammates, and it's I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe her income level went up substantially after going through that program as well, right?
I couldn't say. That would be something, and she's not giving me the right to say. I know her expand and her reach on Facebook has probably 100-fold.
I think so too. I've seen her just, out there all the time. So
imagine this, Mickey, if I may, because you and I spoke at the same time where she enrolled. Where would you be now if you enrolled, right?
Right.
So I'm asking everybody who's watching this YouTube.
Yes, I
don't
totally.
Wait.
Yes, and I shared this with my group and my page, and I invite everyone to join me in this journey. I'm also just starting with the program, and I'm really excited how I can just manifest, just get myself out of the way. That's what I say, right? Just get myself out of the way, because that's what I've been stopping myself from moving forward.
Yes, the blockers, which are not your higher self, right? They're keeping us in this little box. So let's all break out of the box together.
Yes.
Who would you be? Yes. What are you capable of accomplishing? The lives that you can touch, the people you can uplift and inspire and encourage.
Yes. Thank you so much, Aryana, for this opportunity to talk with you, and you can share all this great information.
It's wonderful. And we'll sign off for now. Thanks so much, Mickey. It's lovely to speak with you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.